How am I turning 33 in a couple of days? Like, I've been trying to wrap my head around it as I do year on year. Like, I used to be that babe that people would just say, oh my goodness, you're so young to be here, you're so young. And now I'm a whole... Is that not mid-30s? Are we still allowed to say early 30s? Well, it's still early 30s, oh please. Mid-30s is still 2 years from me, okay? I'm just a girl in my early 30s. Pinch me. Anyway, I am so fond of doing this yearly reflections. It helps that my birthday falls towards the end of the year, and I just think about, okay, what's up with this year? Okay, this is 33, what's up? And I wanted to do this fun part to, the things that I feel like as a 33-year-old woman, I'm done with, like, for life, for good. In the past years, I would do things for you guys as like things I've learned in my 32 years of life, 30 things I've learned at 30 and things like that. But for this year, I just wanted to do something for me and put it here as something that, yes, you can still learn from, but I can look back maybe when I'm 40 or when I'm 80 or when I'm 100 if Jesus tarries, and I can say, you said you won't do those things again, and you did not. So without further ado, let us jump right into it. Blow the confettis. This is the power you blow the confettis, guys. So I'm going to start with this first one. A lot of you guys here know that I just came back from a trip, and when I tell you that trip filled my cup like to the brim, I loved it. Every single penny that went into that trip, I love it. For me, like, girl, you better spend your money on yourself. And I feel like for me, I am done with that life of not spending my money on myself. Now, I always have this thing, especially since coming into motherhood, where if I want to buy something for my kids, it's like, boom, so easy. But when it comes to myself, I start to calculate and I start to think, should I not? But now, listen, it doesn't matter how frivolous it is, and it's not just spending, it's also in the sacrifices, right? Like I was saying on the Insta story that day that my friend gave birth and I went to the hospital, made amala and stuff. In the same week I had people visiting. It wasn't that much of a deal for me. I went and I made amala. Amala is like a traditional dish from Nigeria. It's quite stressful to make, but I mean, it's yummy. And then the same week I was personally craving it, maybe because I'd made it so much. I was just like, it would be nice to have amala. And guys, I found myself almost talking myself out of eating amala to just make something easier. I was like, oh, no, get up. It's not every time you even crave food, like you're fond of eating what you see. This time, if you crave it, go have it. So it's not just even in the spendings, right? It's also just in the doings of, I feel like getting a massage. Let me go get it, because in the blink of an eye, I'm going to pay for that massage for a mom friend who I think needs it. I'm a mom friend. I'm a mom. Right? So I feel like that life, to the glory of God, I am done with it. Another thing that contributes to this mindset, I will say, is how much delayed gratification I've practiced in my 20s. Like, and I could say it now when it relates to money, that in my 20s I denied myself a ton of things, which has paid off, thankfully. Like, the investments have yielded results, are still yielding results. Like, I have sacrificed a lot of things to make sure that I show up for my work that is blessing me right now. So like, this is the part where if you don't start to eat the fruit of your labor, girl, you can't be working and saving forever. So now it's like, okay, the things I've done, I've taken roots down, and I'm really, sitting in to say I'm going to enjoy it with my full chest. And I'm talking about even the silly, frivolous things that fill me up. I'm going to do it. This year now, I can't remember when I did not have my nails done. So it might be as little as that. Well, not little, because, girl, this pedicure is expensive these days. But I'm saying, like, just the feeling of going to the salon and have somebody just pampering me. Yeah, 33, because I feel like this year was the last straw where I'm like, okay, let's keep it moving. Do it for yourself. DIY in another perspective has started. Like, if I want it, I get it. Now, obviously, doesn't mean that I've automatically turned into this ridiculous spender who will get every designer thing she wants. Nope. I still have sense, and also my capacity has not reached the brim. There's still so much money that God is going to bless me with. But I'm just saying that this phase that I'm in right now, and where I've come to in my finances and in my self-love especially, I'm no longer filling other people's cups and neglecting my own. It's going to be like, two things can be true at the same time. As you're being a great wife and a great mom, you can be a great person to yourself as well, right? As you're being a great daughter and a great friend, you can also still pour that same energy into yourself. Period. Okay? And I love that. It's enjoyable. Like, speaking of this trip I went on, like, I had a time of my life. I loved it. More to follow. In the name of Jesus. Second thing I'm going to say is I'm no longer losing myself, and specifically as a family woman. And yes, that sounds very bold to say, that sounds very daring to say, but it is what it is. It's a decision I have made, and by the grace of God I started putting things to back it up. Hear me out. I came into motherhood. I started the journey into motherhood 7 years ago. My daughter is going to be 6 next year. Prior to then, I had a miscarriage. Like, I'd been on this whole pregnancy, but having children for the past 7 years of my life. So I feel like with especially children come weight gain, come emotional stress, come putting yourself second naturally. For women, a lot of women, I know not every woman, but a lot of women, nursing, sleepless nights, and sometimes you can even lose yourself in the process, which I think comes with motherhood a lot. And I'll even be very specific with the example. Like, sometimes I see pictures of, for example, say postpartum, and I had acne and a lot of things on my face, and there's a balance to it, which is why I don't regret anything I have done. Let me just put it out there. I just think that I've come into that place where I feel like I'm finally feeling like myself again as a mom. Really, you can never feel like yourself again. That old self is gone, okay? But this is the closest I've been to myself before having kids, and not just even in terms of my weight, but also in terms of my freedom, my emotional stress, my mental stress. My son is 3, almost 3, he's in daycare, he's going to join school next year, so he's like, okay. And I know that the best is still yet to come, obviously. Like, recently I was one of my aunties whose kids, her youngest is almost 18, and I'm like, oh wow, look at you. Like, obviously there are levels to this, but compared to where I'm coming from, where it's been pregnancies and toddler life and postpartum, I just feel like, I can really tell myself this now, that losing myself to put myself in the family way was a sacrifice I made. And for some people, it's like, so are you subtly telling us that no more babies? Not quite, actually, because I sat with this a bit. But I feel like even if I eventually, have a third child, it's going to be a different ball game. Like, there's so many things I sacrificed. For example, I could have afforded a nanny when I was pregnant with my second, and then I had my toddler. It was a lot, but I just kept winging it, pushing it, and it took a toll on me. I won't lie, emotionally, but I did it. I did what I had to do. But if I was to go again, girl, there's going to be a nanny in my house. There's going to be a chef in my house. Calm down. Okay, I live in Canada. Maybe just a nanny. I feel like what I'm trying to say is I'm just going to make sure that it doesn't get to the point where I lose myself, through all of this. And I know that someone is looking at me like, how did you lose yourself? We're still seeing you here. You're still... Listen, yes, I know that surface level, because I'm a very mentally strong person, I had a good way of carrying it all. Things that were heavy and I just sat on, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I got this. Let's wake up the next day. So even if I eventually have another child, there's still things that are just going to be what it is. Right after my second, I picked up the camera. I went back into work. I won't do that. I won't do that. I'm going to take some maternity leave time for myself. This can also be argued to say it's because you're financially comfortable now. Maybe I could just get a job that won't require me to do that. Like, I'm not saying that I will, but I'm just saying, like, those are the seasons I look back on and I'm like, you're losing yourself slowly. But the great thing is that, by the grace of God and the help of therapy, I've been able to pull myself back out of that, because your mental health is something that is so crucial to your total well-being as well. And with that, I'm going to just stop here and say thank you so much to BetterHelp for being the paid partner of this video. BetterHelp is an online therapy service, and they expose you to a wider range of expertise. BetterHelp connects you with a credentialed therapist who is able to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. It's so easy to sign up. First, you go to their website, or you can use my link, betterhelp.com/Tolulope. You answer a series of questions, and usually within 48 hours, BetterHelp will link you up to a therapist who you've picked in terms of your preferences. You can choose a Christian therapist if you want. You can choose a male, and all that good stuff. What makes this most convenient is that you can do it from the comfort of your home, either by your phone or your laptop, and you can talk to your therapist in any way you prefer, either by phone call, video call, or messaging. So I really implore you, if you're struggling in any area of your life, it doesn't have to be just motherhood or family way. It could be a career, it could be relationships. I really recommend BetterHelp. So again, visit betterhelp.com betterhelp.com/Tolulope, or you search for Tolulope Solutions during sign up, and with that you get a special discount off your first month of BetterHelp therapy. That said, there was something I posted on Instagram about point number 3 now. It was in the line of, I am no longer shrinking to be digestible. You can choke respectfully. And it was funny, like a lot of people reposted it, but I think it just buttresses this other point of mine, which is just to say that I'm done with betraying myself. And this is a very layered, statement, but I feel like this happened when I turned 30. Something just switched, but I feel like now, 3 years after, I think I've now come into the fullness of it. I'm like, caution to the wind, I will braid water before I worry about someone who don't like me, and I have to do, like in my place they call it kissers, but just to say that there are situations and circumstances. It could be friendships, it could be relationships with other people, colleagues, work, whatever, name it, that sometimes it's like I'm betraying myself to keep the peace, or to keep the peace. Why did that sound funny? Or that I am letting go of something that I really enjoy doing just because I don't want to be judged. Now, because I'm a Christian influencer, I am a Christian even before I'm a Christian influencer, but I'm also from Nigeria. I know that there are many things culturally that I say is wrong with our even Christian walk in there. There's so many, for example, like you would invite and lift up holy hands when someone comes from the abroad to come and worship, even though they have a stud in their ears, or they have tattoos, or their hair is braided. I'm not speaking specifically to say whether these things are right or wrong. I'm just talking to say the culture. Like, this is not the place for that conversation, okay? We're all ready for it. But anyway, people will still lift up holy hands and worship. But let Minister Nathaniel Bassey wear a stud. Why did I use him? Then the church will be in an uproar. And that's just a scenario, but even subtly and loudly as a Christian influencer, people have placed me on pedestals that even they themselves cannot attain. And it's not like I even count myself to have apprehended, right? And this is absolutely not an excuse to misbehave. Like, at the end of the day, I am still very submitted to Jesus, more than I have ever been in my life, through storms, through, everything that this year has even brought my way. But I also know that for the longest time, people have carried this, unspoken expectation for Christian influencers. I'll say to a large extent, I've not been bothered about it, and I don't even give it any attention. But for what is worth, this is me publicly saying that, like, respectfully, y'all can choke. No, don't choke. It's not you guys, obviously. Like, anybody watching me, you guys are sweet. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels like there is a world that has been, watching your every move, and they want to see, any small thing you do, quick to call it out. Me, I've dropped that expectation, like I said, since a long time ago. But now it's like realizing that, wow, the weight has finally lifted, and I'm not just going to betray myself because I just want to be perfect for people to see. Because at the end of the day, if especially as a public figure, it might be easy to start living for people or for the applaud of people, which I've even never done. But just really sitting down and saying that, okay, this is not in line with your Christian faith and where you're at right now. That's another thing, right? This is permissible, but because of the judgment of people who probably already place you on a standard they can meet themselves, you shy away from talking about it, or you shy away from doing it. I was just like, you know what, anything that has to do with the opinion of men, let God alone be true and let men be a lie. So again, I'm going to say that does not mean that, now I go pierce my ear, there's one nonsense song they always sing on Instagram. That's not absolutely what this is. But I feel like if you've even been in the church for the longest time, you would have a better understanding of what I'm talking about. How people can place you on a pedestal they themselves cannot meet. As for me, I've dropped it. Freedom! We have liberty in Christ. Anyway, so another thing that I just want to put out here, I feel like this has always been my vibe from the beginning, but this year confirmed it, because you can know something and the reality has not dawned on you. Like for me to know that I don't care what people say, which is the point. And then, but that's because people don't really say a lot, right? But I feel like this year there were a lot of essays, and there were a lot of, you know, rumors, and there were a lot of, maybe not social media, but even in my circle, my friends more than anything will say, oh, I heard someone say this about you, you know, this is what my friend, even though I was like, why are you in a conversation where this is happening about me in the first place anyway, you know? But just seeing my reaction in those moments, feeling my heartbeat to know that it doesn't even bother me a bit. Like obviously as a, you know, public figure, this has been happening like here and there, but I feel like this year I had to deal a lot with ESAs and, you know, suspicions and things that people are thinking, and a lot of it came to my radar. Just seeing that my reaction is so like okay, whatever, like it's just, honestly, I think all of these points is just leading to how growth is so good. Because maybe in secondary school I'll have jitters and I'll be wondering, hey, what's this person saying? But I feel like for the longest time I've gotten freedom. I've like, nah, when it comes to what someone said anything about you, I don't care. Like if you want to have a conversation, say it to my face. If you can't say it to my face, why you gossip about it? Won't help you. Like I don't gossip about people. I pride myself in not gossiping about other people. Like me and my friends will be doing church, and we'll be talking about ourselves for the most part. It's a different thing if it has to do with counsel or things like that. Like I'm in a position where I hear a lot of things based on people's story and is, you know, towards giving counsel or whatever. But when it comes to just gossiping about people, you will usually not find me in that circle. So when I hear that people are saying this and saying that, I'm just like, okay. But more than ever before, I feel like this year when all those things came to my radar, I didn't lose sleep. Like my heart was beating just fine. Some I was smiling, some I was even saying, so what did you say? And then some I was just like, okay, moving on. You know, it didn't change my posting schedule. Even more recently, there was one that happened on Instagram about like pepper or no pepper. Someone had messaged me on Instagram that she was like, oh, like even with her number of following, someone insulted her the other day and she was crying, and her husband was laughing to say, you want to be an influencer? That how am I, you know, braving through it? And I'm like, me, girl, you don't know me. Like my heart did not beat differently. So just goes ahead to say that, girl, I love this for you. I love this age. So yes, say I don't care about it. That period. This last point is something that is actually new to me, especially as it comes to being in the face of the world, is that if something is not serving you anymore, don't be afraid to let it go. If you've had a different niche and, you know, it just happens that it's not serving you anymore, don't be afraid to change and pivot and, you know, be true to yourself, which, you know, kind of links to not betraying yourself that I said earlier. But I'm speaking specifically even as a content creator and the line of work I do. So many times it's almost as though, I've been doing vlogs. Am I trying to say something here? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it's almost as though I've been doing vlogs for this number of years and I have to continue doing it. No, don't be afraid to pivot. Sometimes it's not even just about what is trending you want to pivot to. It's about, okay, do you feel like that season of your life is over? Do you feel like you no longer have peace exposing your children? Like, just do it. Just do it. And that's exactly what, you know, this year has taught me. Like, if I feel like something is not, you know, in line with what I feel like sharing anymore, I don't lose sleep over it. I don't judge myself for it. Yes, the transition might not be as easy, but at the end of the day, the only person's opinion that matters is that of God, right? Is he leading me through this new season? And I'm speaking specifically for me. Is he helping me through this new season? Making sure that my steps are still ordered even in the new niche. If all those boxes tick yes, then I'm just going to ride with it. And doesn't now mean that in the future, if I want to pick up the niche I left, I will still now have jitters, or just not being afraid of changing directions. Because the truth is, especially in this age, this, you know, internet age, it might be more difficult because you feel like, people say, you know, I started this ministry, I dropped it, I took another one, what will people say? Grace, baby, grace. I'm giving myself grace through my transitions. Like, I am also human. I am also allowed to change my mind. That's the word. Yeah, and the vision is still also so much. Like, if you're afraid to change niches, for example, what if God calls you into a bigger purpose? Will you now say, oh, I have to still be hanging on? Like, if tomorrow God says start a podcast or go into full-time whatever, I have it in my head, let me not say it out yet, I will, and I will not be holding on to, oh no, but this is what people have known me to be doing for 10 years. So it's the same thing, even within what you're doing right now. The same way you can be in HR in your job, and maybe you see an opportunity with sales that come up and you feel like you're qualified for it and you apply for it. Exactly. So if that can happen in the corporate world, then people too should be allowed to change their minds, even when it comes to maybe their niches or in the way that they choose to represent their brands, right? So yeah, that's it. And with that, I've come to the end of this video. I'm looking forward to watching this back years from now, like maybe 33 years from now I'm 66, or 66 years from now I'm 99. I'm watching this and I'm just nodding and I'm like, oh yes. Who knows what the internet would have become in that age? Like, oh my goodness. May God keep us. May God keep me. On this birthday, I'm saying a heartfelt prayer for long life for myself. The Bible says that with long life, He's going to satisfy me and show me His goodness. And if there's one prayer you want to pray my way, please, yes, pray that prayer for me as you keep me in your mind. Lots of strength. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Whenever your heart is broken.